Guys, in today's video, I'm going to explain you the concept of flexible budgeting. It is a very important topic for CIMA USA Part 1, CIMA USA Part 2, ACCA F2, F5, and in most of the other professional qualification, flexible budgeting is tested. Hi, I'm the commerce specialist. Welcome to my channel where you'll find videos covering learning outcomes of various professional certification and academic qualifications, including life-changing business ideas and concepts. So what is flexible budget? In order to understand what is flexible budgeting, we need to focus on these figures. If you could see here, I've given some details. Profit has been calculated for making and selling 1,000 units. We started off with sales, selling 1,000 units at a selling price 50,000. DM is direct material, cost is 15,000, direct labor 5,000, variable overheads another 4,000, and fixed overheads are 6. So when I make a box like this, that means I'm adding all of them, and because all these are my cost, the total of all this comes to 30. 50 minus 30, you're making a budgeted profit of 20,000. We are also given the actual results. This was a budgeted profit. In reality, what happened? In reality, the profit is 21,400. And when we compare budgeted profit of 20,000 with the actual profit of 21,400, it gives us 1,400 higher profit. If you look at this, budgeted profit is 20,000, but the actual profit is 21,400. So that means 1,400 greater profit than what we budgeted. Now what you need to focus is, we need to compare an apple with an apple. We cannot compare an apple with a watermelon. What does this mean? This means if you look at this budgeted profit calculation, all these figures applies for 1,000 units. We are making and selling 1,000 units, and these are the relevant income, the cost, and the profit. But in reality, the actual figures which are given, we need to focus that these figures are for making and selling 1,400 units. So how can we compare an estimation for 1,000 units with the actual result of 1,400 units? So it's like comparing an apple with a watermelon. I mean, the budget base is not the same. The budget figures are for 1,000 units, whereas the actual figures are given for 1,400. Comparison is not possible. Even if you compare, it will not be realistic. So now what we need to do is, we need to look at the budgeted figures and mold them, adjust them for actual budget base. So now what we have to do is, we have to look at the original budget. This original budget is also known as static budget. Static budget is actually a budget prepared for a certain number of units. So the budget base for the static budget is 1,000 units. Now for 1,000 units, if these are the numbers, what should be the amount for 1,400 units? Making flex budget is very simple. Now what we need to do is, we need to convert this figures which are good for 1,000, we need to change them for 1,400. And if we do that, actually we are making a flex budget. So let's make a flex budget now. It's simple. I'm just putting a title here, flex budget. Flex budget is for 1,400 units. Now in actual it says what the numbers are actually, but in flex budget we are looking at how much this should have been. So if I take sales here, I know I'm selling 1,400 units and the selling price was the same, 50. Now I'm selling 1,400 units, selling price is the same, 50. So what should the sales be? Sales figure should have been 1,400 into 50. It should have been $70,000. All right, let's come to direct material. I'm talking about making and selling 1,400 units. Direct material cost for 1 unit is 15. Okay, so 1,400 into 15 gives me 21,000. Direct material cost should have been 21,000. Coming to direct labor, I'm making and selling 1400 units and labor cost for one unit is 5. Okay, so 1400 into 5 gives me 7,000. That means the labor cost should have been 7,000. Coming to variable overheads, 1400 units are there. For each unit, the variable overhead is 4. Okay. So 1400 into 4 gives me 5,600. And comes fixed overheads. Now, you need to understand fixed overhead normally doesn't change. So, whether it is 1000 or 1400 units, we are assuming fixed overhead shouldn't have changed. So, it's 6000. Now, time to add all of them. So, we got 21,000 as direct material, 7,000 as direct labor, 5,600 as variable production overhead and 6,000 as fixed production overhead. So the total cost, variable and fixed, comes to 39,600, and when I subtract it from the sales, this should have been my profit for 1400 units. How much? 30,400. 30,400 should have been my profit had I made and sold 1400 units. But in reality, my profit is just 21,400. Now, concluding the discussion, we are not supposed to compare the static budget with the actual results. Why? Because this static budget is prepared for 1000 units, whereas the actual results which are given to us is for 1400. So there is a mismatch. The budget base is not the same. What we need to do is, looking at the static budget, we need to reconstruct a budget which should be for 1400. So all these amounts are would-be figures. Now, had I made and sold 1400 units, what the sales would have been, what the direct cost would have been, how much the direct labor should have been. So these are the would-be figures for 1400. So these are the figures which should have been had I made and sold 1400 units, and these are the actual figures. So now by comparing these two, we are able to find out whether we are better off or not, whether there are favorable or adverse variances. So let's have a look here. Your sales for 1400 units should have been 70,000, but actually it is just 65. That means there is a variance of 5,000. Again, it should have been 70, but actually it is only 65. So it is an adverse variance. Means, in other words, you can call it a loss. The direct material cost should have been 21,000, but it is 24. So the difference, the variance is 3,000, and obviously it is more than what it should have been, so it's an adverse variance. Let's look at labor. For 1400 units, labor should have been 7, but here it's 5. That means there is a difference of 2. But it's a favorable variance because it should have been 7, but in reality it was 5, so we saved 2,000. Let's have a look at variable overheads. For 1400 units, it should have been 5,600, but in reality is 7,600, 2,000 more than it should have been, so it's an adverse variance. And then finally, fixed overhead should have been 6. But in reality it was 7. The difference is 1000, and obviously it's an adverse variance. In the end, what we can do is we can sum up all the variances. So if I add all the adverse variances, which is 5,000, 3,000 and 3,000, 11 minus 2,000 favorable. So in the end I get 9,000 adverse variance. And this 9,000 clearly shows the difference between flex budget profit and the actual budget profit. Now this shows for 1400 units, the profit should have been 30,400, but it is only in reality 21,400. The difference is 9,000, and obviously the actual profit is less than what it should have been. That's why we're calling it adverse. So guys, next time you encounter a similar situation, don't jump to conclusion. Look at the budget base. Static budget is for 1000, actual is for 1400. There is no way we should be comparing them. If we do, this variance, which is 1400, 20 minus 21, is known as a static budget variance. The difference is because of the number of units. But when we compare the flexed budget figures with the actual one, we get the flexible budget variance, which is more realistic. I hope you have understood this topic. If you have any queries, please write it in the comment section. I will respond to you as usual. If you're new to my channel and you like my work, please consider subscribing to my channel. Press the bell notification button so that you get my videos on a timely basis. If you like this video, please share it with your dear and near ones so that others can also benefit. Thank you so very much for your precious time.